Hi, I'm Steph Palermo, and I know you hear me talking about feeling groovy and doing groovy things and having fun and enjoying your life. But what does that actually mean when you have to wake up every day to an ever-growing list of to-dos? And then, of course, there's those shoulds. I should meditate. I should get on a diet. I should go to yoga. I should rest. I should do all these things to feel good. I should travel. Well, I'm offering you a chance to actually feel and embody what groovy is, what feeling amazing is. Join me in Terracini, Sicily. You will not regret it. We are going to have an amazing time, and you will actually feel what living really is, what knowing your purpose is. And you'll be able to take that back, not in a list of to-dos, but in how you feel. So I'll see you there in Terracini, Sicily. Don't miss it. This is the Just Steph Show, and I'm your host, Steph Palermo, your Italian Boston girl who's an empath, healer, and all-around seeker of wisdom. Tune in weekly for advice on how to live your best life at work, home, or play so you can feel groovy every day. Hey, happy Monday. It's me, Just Steph. I'm thrilled to be back. Hope everybody had a fabulous weekend. I am Just Steph. I'm your Sicilian Scorpion girl who takes you by the hand and shows you how to enjoy life and get on your soul's right path and enjoy healing and everything life has to offer you. So listen, I know you saw my preview there about my retreat. We have lots and lots and lots of people who are interested. This is going to sell out. So come on this soul journey retreat with me to Terracini, Sicily. It's an amazing price and it's all inclusive. You won't even have to worry about your own airfare like most retreats and trips. So you definitely want to check that out. The link is in the description of this video. So please take a look at that. And if you want to talk to me about it, I'll be happy to get on a call and we can discuss how this trip is right for you. So I'm thrilled today. I'm back with the Divine Summit interviews with all the speakers, and we started on Friday. We had so many on Friday, 4 or 5 interviews, and they were amazing. One as amazing as the next. And just to tell you a little bit about the Divine Self Summit, this is a week-long of events. I've joined forces with 4 other intuitives and healers that are, we've come together and we are bringing you a week-long event with 20 speakers. They're leading experts in their fields, and they will be addressing different issues each day and different topics each day. So on Monday is the meeting of our conscious minds. We'll be talking about the mind. And Tuesday is the beautification of the body. And so that is all about the body. We have mind, body. And Wednesday is you are soul matched with spirit. So it's about spirit, but it's not just about your spirit. It's about connecting to spirit with a capital S. And Thursday, which is my day, I'll be emceeing that entire day. It's prosperity and abundance, the importance of energetic frequency. And Friday is why relationships and community matter. And this is all happening June 21st through the 25th. And it's one price for all of the speakers and all of the activities that will be happening that week. We'll be doing stuff in between, little breakout groups and all of that. So it's going to be an amazing week. And this is where this is so in line with all the things that I'm teaching you and my clients and all my audiences and my communities about alignment and align to your soul's purpose and getting on track, because that is where not only are you healed, but that's actually the easiest way to live. It's the easiest way to live because it's your purpose. You're no longer swimming upstream. You're floating with the tide, just going along. And it's much easier, it's freer, and it's a joyful life for you. So today, I'm thrilled to bring you Andrea Keller. She's such an amazing person. I got to chat with Andrea a couple of weeks ago about who she is, what she does for work. And it's a very interesting and unique, I think, one of the most unique speakers we have during the summit, because she is a visionary architect, and we're going to find out what that means. But I want to read you her bio. Andrea Keller is a licensed architect and founder of AKA Architecture and Design in Los Angeles, one of the country's only all-female firms. She has 25 years of experience in multifamily, residential, and boutique hotel design, like some of those hotels, the W, I love the W, the London, the Mondrian, and Redbury. And her firm now focuses on sustainability, intentional communities, eco-village designs, retreat centers, and healing temples. Her work seeks to bring people into greater alignment with their core values, right? This is what we're talking about, the communities and the earth. And we're going to find out more about what Andrea does, because when your space is uncomfortable, you at least know it's uncomfortable. Something just isn't right. So we're going to bring Andrea right here, and we're going to find out more about Andrea as a visionary architect.
Thanks so much for having me. Hi, Steph.
Hi, I'm so glad you're here. I really enjoyed our conversation when we met before to get ready for all of this, and I'm so thrilled to bring you to my audiences and my community. So, talk to me about visionary architect. What is that?
Well, we've all grown up in a very specific way. We're used to the built environment that we have around us. But I've always believed in something different and something better. I've always been a woman in a man's field. I believe that more is possible, that equity is possible. I think we can come into alignment with nature. I think architecture can support us rather than separate us. And I think, more people want to live in community. They want new, affordable housing options in community. They want to live a more spiritual, connected life. This is all going to look very different. We aren't going to be in shoeboxes and big towers anymore. So I think I got to a point, I said, I can see this, and I've seen it for a long time. Now's the time to do it. So
we're not going to be in shoeboxes or towers anymore. Where do you see us sort of living life, not just at home, at work? What do you see for both those, for our personal and professional spaces?
Well, I think some people will always come to cities. I know that the Gen Zs are really attracted to cities, especially starting their career. They want to meet people. They want to find a partner. They want to launch their career. But I see people who perhaps they don't have a rich neighborhood community and they aren't really grounded into their community. They might be seeking something more in alignment with nature. They might want more farming. It was interesting during the pandemic, everyone was adopting animals and making bread and getting closer to nature. Mm-hmm. And we've gotten so separated. And so that's part of it, is having nature in our lives in a meaningful way. Also, there's ways to work with nature, right? We can harvest the rainwater, we can harvest the solar energy, we can put less pressure on the earth. So, and all of this is really exciting. So I think a lot of people are talking about it worldwide, and finding ways to live together with our chosen families, with our friends and social groups.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Making new communities.
So, as you were speaking, I had this vision of, when you see on Facebook or on different ads, those hotels that are they're little bubbles, and you can see the northern lights, or you are in a boat that you can see the what's underneath in terms of the water, and even in nature, in the woods, there's those open space, those places that have all the windows, or is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, partially. I mean, I think a lot of us can do with less. I mean, I know a lot of us have lived in huge houses and not necessarily with the greatest happiness. It's sometimes the happiest time of our life might be our teens and 20s when we lived in a tiny, apartment, but we were in love and we were in a new country. And when we're expanding, not contracting, right? It's all about expansion, that feeling that things are possible.
It's really hard to expand when you're a slave to stuff.
Right. And huge mortgages, or, if you have, people who are, gardening. I mean, there's a lot of kind of hassle, right, that comes along with having a lot of stuff. So I think this dream of having the huge house, it comes with some chains too. And I think when you talk about the simpler structures, you're saying, the bubbles and the domes, sometimes simplicity lets us be ourselves. We can actually hear our own thoughts more deeply. Yeah. And I think sacred geometry is a huge part of what I do, but yeah, aligning with that.
I love that. So that's a little bit of your vision, but can you expand on what your vision is and your mission?
So my mission is to create new types of housing that are more affordable, that are more ecological, that are resilient to climate change, things that can survive burning. I live in California. We've had a lot of burn here. Yes. So being more in partnership and true connection with nature. But I also want to build buildings that are spiritual. And I know that because a big part of my journey is studying in Italy, but you can go into certain buildings and you feel the presence of God or source. And if a building can let you know that source exists, I think that fundamentally changes who we are. And it shows us that we're part of something much bigger.
Yeah, and it changes your experience. It changes how you feel about where you're at.
Right. And our petty problems and our grievances and our, we have so many kind of petty concerns when we are hopefully expanding, becoming, more filled with kindness, love, and how we treat others, evolving towards a more equitable society. So I think what's needed now actually is healing. I think a lot of healing needs to take place. And I'm so happy and grateful for this summit. It's an incredible group of people coming together to heal collectively. But that, I think, architecture has historically, temples and churches were made as places of healing. And I think there's a way to do a contemporary temple that heals us, and healed, people who are healing will result in a better earth.
Well, yeah, and they're happier, they're freer, and I think, and for me, well, I know this is true for everybody. Actually, the source of all healing is love, and that love needs to begin with yourself, first, and spread out, and in your understanding of source, the divine, and loving that source and the divine in all of that. So how did you come to this understanding?
Well, it's funny enough, I had some religious experiences in buildings. I was an architecture student. I decided to be an architect when I was 7 years old. I was also obsessed. So I had to go to Italy. I had to study the Renaissance. I mean, I'm from the San Fernando Valley. I mean, there's no reason why I should be obsessed with, going to Italy. But, but I did. But I went into a couple of buildings. One was actually a synagogue in Philadelphia that Frank Lloyd Wright built. And it had this strange floor plan and this weird elevation. It was kind of weird angles. And the man explained that the imagery was Mount Sinai cupped in the hands of God. And I just started crying. It's like when you see such beauty and you understand that we are children of that same power, of that same beauty, it fundamentally changes who you are. So I knew, while I had to go through my career and design bars and retail stores, I always knew that there was something much bigger and that my mission was much, much bigger than any of that.
So you've said that architecture isn't being used the way it should be. How can we change that? It seems like you're going on route to change it, but how can we participate in that? How can we help that cause?
Well, I think it's really important that people understand design, and there are ways to learn this. I teach design classes. There's tons of videos about design. Most people know what music they like, they know what clothes they like, and they might say, oh, I don't know anything about design. You know, and they just kind of accept anything. They wouldn't trade closets with somebody else, or they wouldn't trade record collections, but they could all live in the same house. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I think, our schools don't teach us design. They teach us music, right? Or a little painting, but it's missing. And I think design has been used by governments to control. It's to coalesce power. It's funny, we talk about sacred geometry and everyone thinks that's kind of a, woo-woo thing. If you look at the United States Capitol, every square inch of that is filled with sacred geometry. And churches have done this for millennia. So it's all about concentrating power. So, and geometry is free, right? So if we can use this coming from source, this geometry, the miracle of it, use it in our own spaces, identify those pieces. Like you said, there's things that might bother us. If we're allergic to a certain food, we stop eating that food. It could be the dresser from your mom. It makes you crazy every time you see it, right? But that's right. People's spirit and limiting beliefs can get trapped in things. Architecture is really powerful.
I think we don't realize it. I think we don't realize when we're in a space that it really could be the space itself that's making us feel bad or good. And we don't realize what it is.
Right. You can't green juice or yoga your way out of this one. So, and it could be that just the alignment is off. Certain spaces might resonate for you personally, the proportions of it, the harmonics of it. If that resonates with your being, I remember you told me, you're like, I love my house. I was so happy because you found the right place for you. You're in tune with that. But, we talk about manifestation, we talk about aligned thought and aligned action. So the developer or the person who designs a space has an idea, and then aligned action is literally construction. Men putting blocks and bricks and wood on top. That's a lot of aligned action. So those ideas are given a high amount of charge. So if the developer just made the smallest apartment to make the most money, and it's really without a soul, and you have a weird shaped window and it's facing the wrong direction, you're going to feel that and absorb it. So just be aware is step one. And then you can also do things. You don't have to change your whole house. And I'm not saying that everyone should go and build their own. I know that's not possible, but there's so much you can do just in arranging your furniture and, bringing geometry into your home. So there's a lot we can do. We can doctor our own spaces.
I love that because I actually have a friend of mine who's an interior designer. She'll just come and start moving furniture around, because this is making me nervous. But it's funny. So, you could see that, but when you're in a space, you just know, like I told you how much I love my house, but I've designed it so it's a space that's reflective of me and welcoming to those people that come into my home, clients and family and friends alike. So, I can understand that, but that healing aspect is kind of hard. So can you speak to that a little bit? The healing that we can receive from the space, the sacred space.
Well, I think one thing that's really important to do is, I think people who are watching this likely know what their core beliefs are, right? Because they've probably been doing this work for some time and they know what their core beliefs are. I would literally write out your core beliefs and how does your house support these? So for me, one of mine, I really love abundance. I like lots of food, lots of animals, lots of art supplies, lots of textiles. And I have a huge table so I can entertain and cook. And it's, like the abundance, the possibility of abundance is important to me. An example of how I fixed my space, I had a traditionally, kind of classic looking living room. And I just wanted, especially during the pandemic, I wanted to feel safe and I wanted to nest. And I actually turned my living room it was kind of a circle of these sectional sofas and my record collection and a really fuzzy rug. And, I could just lay in the space and listen to music and sit on the couch and write and, hide under a duvet, but I needed protection. And I let it support me emotionally, physically, if that makes sense. That. So,
yeah, of course.
How could take care of us, like a business can take care of us,
So, you talked about going to Italy. So, what does it have to do with all this? Like, where does Italy fall in all of this? My
Well, it's
favorite.
funny. I know. I know. I saw your preview, your trips. Like, oh my God, the beauty. So like thousands of years of civilization and so much refinement and love and just a bounteous earth, right? And it was the center also of the church for a long time. So the money that went into the architecture, in the long history of these towns. So I knew I had to go to Italy. I studied Italian in college. I was like, I'm gonna live there forever. I went to Florence first, and I did a study abroad. And instead of, to study the Renaissance. So instead of looking at a slide, you just go to the building. And I remember, it's rainy winters, and I would just sit there for sometimes 10 hours a day, drawing churches, facades, columns, details. And I probably spent about 1,000 hours. It's all sacred geometry. I was taking in the lessons that they put into all of these holy spaces. And then once I finished college, I went back to Rome, and I got a job as an illustrator for the American Academy. And I was working at a dig on the Palatine, right near the Arch of Constantine, right near the Colosseum. And so every day I went to the Forum, the Roman Forum, at 7 a.m. And then I would, everything we found, I would draw and I would measure. And again, it was literally embodying through my hand and my pencil, taking in the lessons of Rome, of the Renaissance, of ancient Rome. And I'm so grateful to Italy. I feel like I went there to get this knowledge so that I can use it now in a more contemporary way, but I got it. So.
Yeah, Italy is amazing. And I love Sicily so much because that Sicily has been sort of taken over by many different countries throughout the history. So there's Byzantine, there's Greek ruins, there's all kinds, Turkey, all kinds of places that came into and took over, conquered Sicily, and it's such a sacred place. There's so many sacred sites, and I love Rome. I love Rome, and I love how they just built on top of whatever was there. And so I love that, because you could just go down a flight and you're in a whole new time zone. So it really is great. I love that. Now you talk about epigenetics. What is that?
So epigenetics is a study of how our environment actually affects our genes, not the other way around. So our genes can actually change. And this was done, there were studies, the doctor was Bruce Lipton. He's well known for talking about this, but in the 60s, he would take stem cells and clone them. So it's the exact same cell, and put it in different culture mediums. And one of them would produce bone cells and one would produce blood cells. And it was proof that the environment is what causes our DNA and our genes to act. And when you think about this, so our environment kind of controls our genetic response. I heard this and I lost my mind. I was like, oh my, architecture, and design could completely transform who we are. And so I'm going to find out, this is, my life mission now is to work on this and create places of healing that hopefully
absolutely. I mean, I could see that if you were in a space that caused you stress for years and years, that's when people get cancer. That's when they have ulcers and fibromyalgia and whatever, dark. And I don't mean dark in not when it's dingy and, and oppressive. That will affect your physical well-being. People don't realize that your health has all to do with what's going on around you and what your reactions are to that environment. So it's important.
1,000%. Yeah. If there's anything in your place that makes you crazy, talk about, the opposite of ease is dis-ease, right? So if we're not feeling okay, take action. And this isn't vain. This is not about trends. This isn't about copying what you see in a magazine. I would definitely not copy the magazine, don't follow TV design trends. This is about you, your soul, your health, your expression, which should be individual, and so I'm really committed to individual health.
I love that. That's amazing. So let's talk about resonance and how it relates to architecture.
Well, you mentioned this too for the Divine Self Summit. So we kind of each are tuned to a frequency, right? Our consciousness is broadcast and we're kind of tuned to that radio station, right? So if we have a certain kind of frequency and the space around us is resonant with that frequency, it will amplify those feelings, that knowledge, that power. If you could walk into a space that was perfectly tuned to your consciousness, I mean, it's just like the power, it just would be extraordinary. So that's really my goal, is to find a way of doing this. I'm actually working on a set of temples in Joshua Tree that you can actually tune temples through radiant heating. By changing the temperature, you can tune a temple. So these are places for meditations, for sound baths, but you know what resonance feels like. I mean, you said yourself when you came into your home, you can feel how it lifts you up. It meets you where you are. So, and I think your experience is actually rare. I mean, most people would say, I walk into their house, they're like, oh, don't look at this, don't look at this. People have shame about their house. You shouldn't have shame. There should be no apology. This is about, your life, your health, your self-expression, what you do with your time on this planet and connecting to things. We're all here for very important reasons. So.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's why resonance matters.
So what day are you speaking on? I'm
speaking on Friday. So I'm speaking on, once we've talked about, the mind, the body, the alignment, all of this is about the next layer out. And I think people have gotten aware of, EMFs, or they're blocking blue light, or they're, doing sound healing. Now we're starting to deal with physical things, sounds. I mean, sound, it's another frequency, right? Vibration, helping us heal. So this is the next layer out. So I think it's important that we start to talk about spaces in this conversation about wellness, alignment, activation, right? That we can experience a transformation, that we become closer to, we become more of our potential. I mean, that's all that this is about. So.
Yeah, it's amazing that people don't realize that how important this is. And I always talk about having those high vibe emotions. And if your space is not on that frequency, it will bring you down and you will attract that lower level of, whatever that vibe is. That's what you're going to attract into your life. So, if you're in a home that is, not aligned, not at a high vibe, like you're saying, that's what you're going to continue to attract, those low frequency emotions. So I love this. I love what you're talking about, and I love how unique, and it's just very special. It really is very different from so many of us healers. And so I love how you're taking your passion and your purpose for life and it's a great example to other people who may not may not be intuitives or healers, like that, like in the sense that you would think, but they might be someone in construction or in accounting. And I believe that healing can come from anywhere. And that's what you're telling us. So that's just proof of that. So I really appreciate that. And I want people to be able to find you. So where are you? Where can they find you?
So you can find me. I'm on Facebook, Andrea Keller, AIA. My website is 4D Design, so FOURD design.com. And feel free to connect. I'd love to, talk to all of you, ask me questions. And I'm so excited. I found myself in a group of healers and I was like, what am I doing in this group of healers? Everyone was doing Akashic records, sound healing. And I was like, but I realized, I'm like, because I'm a healer. I'm an action healer. That's my job.
And that's why you were drawn to this, and why you're here with us, because you're bringing some more awareness to about the universal healing that can happen in any aspect of life, in any area, in any career, or whatever it is you're doing. So, and I applaud you for that, and I'm grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
People, you know how to get in touch with Andrea now, and we will see her on Friday, June 25th, speaking at the Divine Self Summit, with all of us healers gathering together and experts in our respective fields. So thank you, Andrea, for being here, and keep on doing what you're doing and keep on healing.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor.
I love it.
Thanks. And I love your energy.
Oh, thank you.
It's so good.
It's much easier to be happy and enjoying life than to be miserable. That's way more energy I don't have that energy anymore. So anybody, all right, everyone, I'll be back tomorrow with more interviews. So take a risk, be vulnerable, share your heart, and love always. Know I love you all. Wishing you love, balance, and peace. Ciao, ciao, baby. I love you. I do. Thanks for tuning in to the Just Steph Show. I really care about you, your happiness, and helping you make great choices for your life. So tune in next week for more wisdom from me. In the meantime, follow me on my Just Steph Facebook page, on Twitter at Steph Palermo. My Instagram account is JustSteph1, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Steph Palermo. See you next week. Ciao, ciao.